welcome back to another episode of DB's Comic Talk. Today we're going to review Superman Action Comics 987. This is part one of the Oz Effect. I felt this was a big one to do because this is the reveal of Mr. Oz and who he finally is. We've been waiting for this one since Rebirth came out, the beginning of summer 2016. So they've been really dragging this one out. Mr. Oz has appeared before Rebirth. He was in some of the New 52 runs. There's been a lot of talk about who people think he actually really is. Building up to it, everything going on in Rebirth, a lot of people thought that this is going to be Ozymandias, with the Oz stuff going on, the initials. A lot of speculation. People thought maybe Superboy Prime, Jor-El, Jonathan Kent, different names. A lot of names popped in there through it. So you're finally going to get to it. They've been building up to it. So they released this issue here, Oz Effect Part 1, big Rebirth event. Cover's really cool. You got the lenticular cover here that shows like all the bodies forming a Superman symbol, and it spells out hope. Kind of odd, but the cover's neat. The book was cool. It starts off in here with you see Metallo, and he's basically being tortured by Mr. Oz. It's really the only really engrossing part that Oz does in this. This book didn't really have a lot of meat to it. There really wasn't much to it. This is just a reveal book, is really what it's getting to. It's getting to the first page where you see Oz torturing Metallo, killing Metallo by taking his kryptonite heart out, and then talking about really how he's just disgusted with the earth, with the world. So you start to get the feeling here that maybe he's not human, he's alien, because he's referring to them and human beings in general. Then he gets into the book with Superman. Really, like I said, there's not really a lot that goes on through here. There's some scenes in here of Superman saving people, and then Oz kind of creating havoc all over the world. It's known that he's like whispering in people's ear, telling like rebels and terrorists and people to attack, so Superman's really busy. The general gist of it is that he's trying to prove a point, that human beings are disgusting creatures, that they're unworthy of Superman. So it's building towards this big reveal at the end, and that's what we're really just going to jump to, because like I said, there's not much in here. When I was reading this book, I just kept thinking, okay, when are we getting to the good part? When's this getting to like the Oz and Superman confrontation? Because the rest of it, I mean, it's a well-drawn book. The Action Comics has been really good. Big fan of it. So it gets to the end, and you see a confrontation between Superman and Oz, and the two of them are talking. And he's basically saying, I should have never sent you here. So right then and there, when you see that line, instantly it popped into our heads that this is going to be Jor-El. Superman then sees him, and then you see the big reveal at the end when he's kind of stunned, and you see the face, and they reveal that it is Jor-El. Cool picture to end it. He seems to be underneath the hood, wearing a Superman house symbol on the House of L on his chest. He has some damage to his left eye, saying that he survived Krypton and that he somehow is here. And then next week we look like we're going to get to the secret origin of Mr. Oz, which I guess they're going to tell us how Jor-El survived. So a couple things with this. One, if this really is Jor-El, I don't know how I feel about it. I mean, Jor-El's always been a character that was referenced to the past. He died. He's always been a character to stay dead. Now, albeit he's been in some books here along the way of different Superman what-if type stories. And, there's always been stories where Jor-El has been in it, and they've gone back in the past and done Krypton-type books. And, he's a character that's appeared in movies. Russell Crowe played him recently. So you've seen him as a character in comics and in movies, but he's never been in the current continuum as an ongoing character. So I'm not really sure how I feel about that. There's certain characters to me that are just supposed to remain gone, but it's a different sort of twisted version of him. Someone who's basically saying he's regretting what he did. He's not regretting that humanity wasn't worthy enough. So it looks to me, Mr. Oz has kind of been a character that's been he impartial. He wasn't good or evil is how they had him listed. So him saying that humanity's not worth it and he wishes he wouldn't send Superman here, it's kind of telling me that they're bringing him down to like the villain aspect of it. That he's maybe going to be a rival of Superman's, and he's going to I don't know that. I have always liked Jor-El as like, the symbol of hope. So what would it be like him here? How's he going to react to Jonathan Kent? How's he going to react to Superman's son? What's it going to be like when he sees Zod? Because or him and Zod on the same page type now in the way they feel. So there's a lot of interesting dynamics that could go down that route. How would Superman fight against his own father? But I'm not totally convinced yet that this is actually Jor-El. So one of my theories on here is, you've always thought this was going to be Ozymandias. What if it really still is, and this is just some sort of twisted plot? I mean, one thing to notice in this book is when he takes the kryptonite out of Metallo, it doesn't affect him. If he's a Kryptonian, and why is he able to hold it or be that proximity close to it and it's not bothering him? Is he just that more advanced that kryptonite doesn't bother him now? I don't know. I mean, it seems to me like that can maybe be a clue that they are dropping, that maybe he's not really Kryptonian. Maybe this is just somebody messing with Superman. Maybe it's not Ozymandias. Maybe it is a different villain related to the Rebirth storyline. Maybe it's somebody trying to mess with his mind by appearing as his dead father, who's like a twisted, evil version of him now, destroying what Superman always believed in. I mean, if you look in the Fortress of Solitude, there's a statue of Jor-El, and like I said, he's the symbol of hope. So what if they're trying to destroy that in Superman's mind, or really just bring him down altogether? There's a lot of little clues like that. So I'm not entirely sure or sold that this is actually Jor-El. It'll be interesting to see what the next issue comes out and what they say, explaining obviously how he got off Krypton and how he survived. Why did it take him this long to get here? What has he been up to? I don't know. But I think it's going to be an interesting storyline. The Oz effect is obviously going to have huge ramifications throughout not only the DC universe, but I'm sorry, not only Superman's universe, but the DC universe altogether. I mean, this is a big deal, a big character. This is a major player that they're bringing back into the storyline. Another clue, obviously, he wasn't affected by magic as he took on Mr. Mitzelflick, or however the hell you want to say it, and he wasn't really affected by him. He was able to capture him, where Superman struggles with magic. Kryptonians always struggled with magic. So, I don't know. I'd like to hear some people's thoughts on who they think it is. There's a lot of interesting videos going around. Some people still believe that it's Superboy Prime or something twisted, but, this is leading right into the Doomsday Clock with Manhattan. So, obviously, it felt like to me when you read these books that Mr. Oz wasn't affected by the New 52 change. He wasn't affected by whatever Manhattan did because he knew about that there was pre-New 52 Clark still hiding on the planet after New 52 Superman died. So he's obviously someone who's existing kind of outside of the time stream. So it's going to be interesting. Again, I'm not entirely sold on it. The issue was okay. The reveal was cool. The art was great. The picture of him was good. It's intriguing. It makes me want to read more about it and see where they're going. But there you go. That's the big reveal. That's who we've been waiting on. Mr. Oz, as of right now, is Jor-El, returned from the dead or wherever he was hiding from. So it'll be cool to see how the Oz effect breaks down. And of course, we're looking forward to Doomsday Clock. Also, check out Dark Knight's Metal. I didn't do any reviews on it, but it's really good. It's going really cool so far. I like where they're going with that book. A lot of cool stuff happening in DC towards the end of the year, not like summer events, happening towards the end of the year to wrap up a strong year for them. So again, thanks for listening. Appreciate the likes, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Check out some of our other videos we've done recently and some of the stuff we have coming out this week. And don't forget to check us out on SoundCloud too at Ken Frederick Podcast. Thanks for listening. Take care. Later.